On today's Saturday news, this is the end for Nikki Bella.
Sheamus' replacement in the Last Time Is Now tournament has been revealed.
How close were the Young Bucks to actually joining WWE?
And Kenny Omega comments on the Andrade situation. Are you ready? Are you ready for the news time? My name is Phil Chambers. I'm joined by Gareth Morgan. Talk all thing wrestling news, but what do we got up first?
First up, we got to talk about Nikki Bella, because she's been in the news a bit recently after a heel turn on Stephanie Vaquer. What did she call her ages ago? Like, they did a promo. It was like Vaquer. Yeah, so she turned on her. They're going to have a match at Survivor Series, but I think she was getting a makeup done around Entertainment Tonight, is what I saw in the video. Yep. And they were just asking her questions, and I think one of the questions they asked was like, is it different being in the ring, doing your stuff without your twin sister Brie there? Because obviously for so much of their career, they've been side by side. They've obviously had the moments where they've been on their own, but right now, it's just like a general pop culture kind of channel. So they're going to go, what's it like without you sitting? Typical kind of questions. And she did say it's hard. I mean, it's always amazing, and I've had my solo runs. So I think especially when you're an identical twin, you're used to doing so many things together. It's empowering when you have to do things on your own. But I know that however long this run is, a year, 2 years, it will be my last and final. And, you know, in our industry, you never want to say never, but I'm just being realistic. But I started with her, and I want to end with her, being Brie, of course. I know everyone wants it, and I think it will be really cool for the fans and as well for this new era, and especially when you turn me heel. I mean, I'm only super bad when I got sidekicks. It's hard, and I hope I at least get to end it with her. I mean, 2 bad B-words are way better than 1 bad B-word. So, yeah, that's what she was saying. So the big story there is, obviously, that she's saying this is a final run, however long it lasts. Like, it's a last real big push as a, I don't want to say a full-time star, but like she's popping up a lot. Like she's doing the towns, like she's doing a thing. But it does seem like she's just gonna have a good, hopefully a long arc now as a heel for a little bit, and then she'll probably get like that last hurrah as a babyface, maybe alongside her sister. That'd be quite cool, just to kind of send them off as a team, an iconic team in WWE, not the Iconics, but you know what I mean, like an iconic team. And yeah, I think it's just nice. I think it's nice that seems to be, if not in the works, it's something that they're at least like pushing for, because I think there are a lot of people out there who probably have a bit of nostalgia for the Bellas and that run, like, and it'd just be good to service that section of the fan base.
Yeah, absolutely. It's always nice to sort of give someone proper send-off as well. She's been doing this for a long time now. But I think, like, most people probably assumed that this was going to be her last run. But sort of hearing it sort of straight from the horse's mouth kind of deal.
Rude.
It makes sense. But it's like she's just doing, her last time is now.
Yes.
Doing it. So I think Nikki Bella has definitely put in the time. She deserves a sort of one last thing, and then to be able to go out on her own way, whether that's with her sister or where that is at, we're gonna have to wait and see, I guess. But yeah, no, I think it's nice. It's always good to have these send-offs. It's like there's plenty of new stuff you can do with Nikki Bella in this run. There's a lot of new stars in that division that kind of have never faced a Bella before, so it's always interesting to see when you kind of put the old versus the new together. And it seems like that's what they're doing, like with the Stephanie Vaquer stuff and things like that. Like, they're going down, rather than doing just pure nostalgia matches or something, they're doing the old versus new, the different eras versus different eras kind of.
Yeah, do the opposite of what we did with the John Cena retirement tour. That'd
basically
be for most of it anyway.
So yeah, just hope she gets to go out on her own terms, and she's definitely put in the time and she deserves it. So there you go. Yeah, that's my thoughts. But speaking of the last time is now, Sheamus has been injured, a shoulder injury. It was announced on by WWE's Twitter that he couldn't be doing the tournament anymore. And they did say on the tweet that they were going to announce more on SmackDown, but then they didn't really. They did announce the tournament brackets, though, and the spot where Sheamus is just a big question mark, basically. But whoever that is going to go on to face LA Knight in the next round of the tournament. But we have a big scoop about who it's going to be, because PW Insider was either at the show or getting notes from the show, at least. And they have all of the spoilers from the show, because it is the Thanksgiving episode of SmackDown. That is the next episode of SmackDown, and they recorded it after the SmackDown last night to actually give people time off for the Thanksgiving.
Which is nice. We like that.
Quite nice, yeah. There's been a time in WWE where they would just have to wrestle on every single holiday, regardless of what it does to them. So that is quite nice. But we have a spoiler alert, so if you don't want to know, obviously skip to the next story in the video, because give people time to skip it. It's The Miz.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's it. It's just The Miz. He comes in, and then he loses to LA Knight, so he's 0-2 in the tournament.
Double awesome.
Double awesome.
Yeah.
So there you go. That's what they did with that, and now we move on, I guess.
Yeah, now we move. At least I don't have to watch SmackDown next week now. Yay. Wow. Yeah. Great, uninspiring, lovely WWE. I'm not even seeing them. I'm not even seeing the match, and I already kind of know how that's going to go down. Great. Cool.
The report did say it was a good match, so
I believe them. Okay. So, yeah, fine. I don't know.
Yeah.
There's not much to add to that. You just see those names on the thing. It's fine. I'm sure they had a pay-per-view match, didn't they, at some point? Or was it? Was it?
yeah,
I mean, it
was like a thing they would have done. I think
and they were trying to push him.
I think it's one where it's like maybe WWE only found out about the Sheamus thing just before SmackDown, so they were kind of limited to who they had in the building to do it.
That's
so
true.
They couldn't, not enough time to sort any kind of big surprise out or anything. So I think
That's very true. Okay, we'll let him off.
it is what it is.
We'll let him off. It was not a mistake. Hey.
Apparently there was a backstage bit where he tricked R-Truth out of the match, and then so the Miz got it. So I don't know. That's about
Okay, yeah. I may have just jumped the gun a little bit there, but we'll see. We'll see if I was wrong or right this time next week. Yeah, why not? So, completely different branch of the wrestling sphere and news kind of stories, but it looked like the Young Bucks were walking through an airport and they were interviewed by Adam's Apple, I believe it is, the YouTube channel that I saw that this conversation was going down with. And they were asking him a few things. I think they were asking about Chris Jericho and and they were quite lovely. The Young Bucks gave a lot of time. They were giving some decent answers. And one question that they got was how close did they ever come to really sign with WWE? And it's something they have mentioned a few times over the years, but I still find it fascinating when they do just openly talk about it. Yeah, we nearly went to the competition, and this company that you all love right now nearly didn't happen. Well, hey, but they do. They kind of mention it here, and they say that Nick says they were pretty close, and then Matt says that there was never an actual physical contract, but we were negotiating. 2019 was probably the closest. We had a groundswell at the time with the stuff we were doing in Japan and on the indies. I think they just wanted to buy in on it, which, yeah, that's about right, really. They were the hottest thing in wrestling at that point, hence the creation of AEW when it went down, and we all know that story now. But it did look like WWE were yeah, I fancy a piece of that, but would it have been the same if WWE would have got the paws on it and the mitts on it with that type of management that was at the helm at that point? Maybe not. Maybe things would have been a bit spoiled. Maybe it would have been great. We don't know at this point. But I don't know why. This has been mentioned probably a few times over the years that 2019 was the closest that they were there to joining. But I just find it fascinating, that alternate universe where that could have happened. Maybe Kenny goes as well, and just maybe we don't get AEW, and it's fascinating potential world to think about.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely like a sliding doors moment of the Young Bucks potentially joining the WWE, which would have changed everything. Mm-hmm. Or just any of the elite probably joining WWE at that time would have changed everything. But yeah, I think it was obvious. Coming out of New Japan, they were very, very hot. And they translated that obviously into AEW and did the most with that. But if there was ever going to be a moment that WWE was going to be interested in them, it was going to be then, especially with any kind of rumblings about what might be happening with a potential maybe other company. You'd think WWE would be wanting to shut that down as quick as possible. And so even if they weren't super desperate to bring them in, I bet they wanted to just to spite whatever this mystery competition might have been. So it's always going to be the closest that they'd ever come. But it's interesting to think what might have been if they joined the WWE. Would they still be there now? Would I don't know, probably multiple time tag team champions, you would imagine. But what would a Young Bucks in WWE even look like?
Could it still happen one day?
Could never know. Still happen. Never say never.
Seen some weird stuff. We've seen some weird stuff.
But yeah, get your fantasy booking down in the comments. But finally, Kenny Omega, speaking of the Elite, has had a bit of a comment on the Andrade situation. The whole, accidentally wrestling while he's still under contract and then now being forced to be out for a whole year kind of situation.
That thing, yeah.
That old chestnut. So he was talking to Shaq Wrestling, and he got a quote just saying, to see him back in AEW was a happy moment for me because I felt he really wanted to be there and do well. So now that he's been sidelined for a little bit, more than a little bit, Kenny, I can imagine that when he comes back, he'll still have that same amount of motivation. I think everything will be all right. And of course, when things happen, injury or otherwise, you have to pivot. The show must go on. It's just the way it is. It's just the way it is. It's the nature of the beast that is professional wrestling. So it's basically just Kenny Omega being as positive and optimistic as ever.
Yeah, we like that about Kenny. But this is... And Tony was talking about it, wasn't he, on the Ariel Helwani show? And it's just messy. It's just a very messy situation that it'll be interesting to see how it's resolved. If it's resolved before that year's up, if he does get back in, you wouldn't really bet on it at this point, because if WWE have got that in place, they probably want to keep it in place because it cools him down as a property, and it gets him maybe out of that news cycle, so AEW don't get this big release energy or whatever it is, you know what I mean, kind of like electricity pumped into their show when he does pop out a cup. If it's been a while, maybe people lose interest, and that's why these things are in place, isn't it? Just so you can kind of lose that momentum. So yeah, just weird situation. And Kenny's going to put a nice spin on it and hopefully keep people interested. But it just put him in such an awkward situation. He got beaten up and it was like, okay, we're doing nothing with it for a while now because we can't. It's like, cheers. Thanks, guys. He keeps getting beaten up, Kenny. I'm not enjoying it. He's getting battered weekly and it's just not... I don't like seeing my cleaner getting his ass kicked. It's not fun.
Poor guy.
Yeah.
But that's the news. Thank you very much for joining us. If you want, you can follow us over on the old social medias. Follow me on Instagram at @FillMyChambers. Follow this guy
on X at GMorgan04, on Instagram at Gareth Morgram, and then within that Instagram, we got some personal fitness training stuff that I do as my other world here. My brain is away. If you can't tell already, I'm very ill right now. Held it together all video, but I'm feeling a bit ill. But yeah, if you can follow me on that, that's at fitness.focus.gm. And yeah, just support my little channel and little other hustle I have going on right now.
There you go. And have yourselves a bloody good day.